All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a huge topic, the collision of artificial intelligence and medical coding. There's a ton of change happening, and we're going to break down what's really going on.
So, let's just get it out of the way. The big question on literally everyone's mind. It's the one that sparks all the debate and, let's be honest, probably a little bit of anxiety too.
And the short answer is nope. AI is not going to completely replace medical coders. But, and you have to hear this part, the job itself is going to fundamentally change. The role is going to shift long before the headcount ever does, and understanding that shift, well, that's the key to everything.
To really get what's happening, first, we need to pin down what we even mean by the word replace. It's not as simple as it sounds, and, the definition kind of changes depending on who you talk to. Okay, so this slide is really important because it breaks the problem down into 4 different pieces. First, you've got the fear of replacing headcount, just the raw number of people needed. Then there's replacing tasks, which is where the day-to-day grind changes, but the coders are still there. Third is about replacing responsibility. This is huge. Who's ultimately on the hook for a code, the AI or the human? And finally, there's the concern about replacing entry-level roles, which could totally change how people get started in this career. The reality is, the immediate hit is on tasks, not on people.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, the massive difference between what a machine is good at and where human judgment is still absolutely 100% essential. Let's see how this plays out.
And this just lays it out perfectly. Look, AI is an absolute beast at pattern recognition. It can tear through thousands of records to find denial triggers or just speed up that hunt for one little piece of information. But where does it fall flat? Well, that's exactly where we humans shine. It can't navigate the clinical ambiguity in a doctor's note, the difference between suspected and confirmed. It can't interpret the subtle nuance of coding guidelines, and it definitely can't solve what I call the one missing sentence problem, where a single line of text changes the entire story.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? When an AI tries to infer what a doctor meant in an ambiguous note, it's basically guessing. And that guess, that inference, it might look solid on the surface. But the second you put any pressure on it, like an audit or a payer review, the whole thing just collapses. That's a risk most places just can't take.
So if AI isn't a replacement, then what is it? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like getting a new coworker. A really, really fast coworker who's amazing at certain things, but still needs a lot of supervision. So let's look at what that actually means day to day. This table breaks down the main ways people are using AI right now. You've got your standard computer-assisted coding, or CAC, great for suggesting codes, but boy, it can be confidently wrong. Then you have these new LLM summarizers. They're pretty handy, but they can easily miss that one key detail buried in a note. The sweet spot, though, the place where this all really works, is human plus AI pair coding. It's the best of both worlds. You get the AI's speed, but with the human expert still in the driver's seat. The goal isn't to hand over the keys, it's smarter collaboration.
But here's the catch, and it is a big one. All that speed that AI gives you, if you don't have strong human oversight, you're not just moving faster, you're amplifying your compliance risk at an incredible rate.
And that leads to this, which is probably the most blunt and accurate warning you'll hear. If your AI workflow just ends up with people rubber stamping suggestions, you're not actually saving money. You're just delaying the pain. You're borrowing trouble from the future. And it always comes with interest in the form of denials, audits, and takebacks.
So how do you avoid all that? Well, the good news is that this whole shift is creating a massive opportunity for coders who are willing to evolve their skills. Let's talk about what it takes to become AI-proof.
Here they are. This is the skill stack for the future. And notice the pattern here? None of this is about data entry or speed. It's all about investigation, interpretation, and strategy. Things like auditing, digging deep into payer policies, real denial root cause analysis, and even providing oversight for the AI systems themselves. This is the stuff that takes a human brain.
I love this analogy because it's so perfect. You don't compete with a calculator by doing math faster in your head, right? You provide value by understanding the concepts, by setting up the problem, and by knowing instinctively when an answer just doesn't feel right. It's the exact same thing with AI and coding. Your true value is your expertise and your critical judgment.
So let's bring it all home. The final verdict is pretty clear. AI is not an eliminator, it's a catalyst. It's recasting the role of a medical coder, shifting it away from production line work and toward being a high-level expert in data quality and compliance.
All right, let's just hammer home the final takeaways.
1. AI replaces tasks, not people. 2. So-called touchless coding, that's a fantasy for anything but the most basic repetitive cases. 3. Complex work will always need human judgment and accountability. 4. A human-in-the-loop workflow isn't a crutch, it's the smartest and safest path forward. And finally, 5. Your expertise in auditing, compliance, and tricky policies, that's your new superpower. It's more valuable than it's ever been.
And I'll leave you with this one last thought. For AI to ever truly take over medical coding, clinical documentation would have to become perfect. You know, perfectly clear, totally unambiguous, and 100% complete every single time. And as anyone in this field knows, that is the most unrealistic thing I've said all day. The complexity and the beautiful messiness of healthcare is exactly why human expertise will stay at the heart of this profession for a long, long time to come. Thanks for watching.